This morning on Today's Tech, are you addicted to your digital device, from checking email to texting or listening to music? If you find it hard to walk down the street or even enjoy a meal without being plugged in, you may have a problem. Brad Lamb is addiction specialist and certified interventionist. Brad, good morning. Good to see you again.
Good morning. We were just talking about even during mealtime how hard it is to turn it off,
put
it away.
And we used to hear people jokingly say crackberry, but it is
It's
a
true.
serious problem.
It's true.
So how do you know if you have a problem or you're just, in your mind?
This is the litmus test. Is it affecting the life that you want to have? And is it affecting your relationship with other people? Like you were talking about at dinner,
Yeah.
and the second you pick it up, you check out of conversation you're having with them. And so use that as a litmus test, because every time we fall out of relationship with somebody, back into our BlackBerry or Crackberry or iPhone or whatever it is, some of us have 2 or 3.
Right.
You fall out of relationship with who you're with. And so it does have a real impact on our families and our work lives and how we live our lives day to day.
How do you compare this to other addictions, let's say drugs or alcohol? Is it fair to make those an equivalent?
Absolutely. It's even more widespread, though, I think. And if you take the worst case, people driving down the street, checking their email, texting, calling.
I've seen that. People
Multitasking and swerving.
doing that.
We've all heard the stories of people having horrible crashes. But that's the worst case scenario.
Sure.
But the other ways we see it is it pulls people out of relationship with their families and friends. So even like if you have an alcoholic father, the whole balance of the system changes. And likewise, if you have a parent that's always in their BlackBerry, not in relationship with the kids and involved in the family,
Right.
It has a cost on the family, too. So
it's not
love
multitasking
rules.
when you're doing this. You are taking
I don't
away.
think so.
Right.
I think we've trained ourselves that we have to be always on. And even when we leave work, we're no longer 9 to 5. We're 24/7.
So how do you set boundaries? I mean, if you know you've got this problem, what do you do?
Set rules without negotiation or delay. So come up with a change contract with your family that by hook or by crook, no excuses, you're going to live by. So that means that at certain hours of the day, you're not going to be involved with your BlackBerry, your iPhone, your device. You're going to put it away. You're going to be involved with your family. And this is a really big one. The thing that pushes you in to clicking, you will feel it. It's the craving to click. What am I missing out? What call am I not getting? What news am I not getting? So count those cravings, and it will help you identify just how present this digital addiction is in your own life.
Now, you mentioned to me in the breakup turning it off completely. Is that
I
a
love
part
to
of
turn
setting
it
the
off.
boundaries?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, set some quarantine rules. Really, use that word in your own mind even, quarantine rules, and talk to your family about it. That meal time, family time, movie time, and sleep time, we're going to turn it off and put it away. And look, I even have worked with couples that I've seen that in lovemaking, the phone rings, and an email comes in, a text comes in. And boy, nothing blows the mood and helps damage a relationship like interrupting special time with your family and loved ones.
But, a lot of people will
fun.
say to you, listen, this is my job. I'm connected through this wireless device 24/7. How do you balance the expectations of work where you've got to keep your phone on with, again, the family life?
I hear you. And look, we can always find excuses to do what we want to do. But I believe that we train people how we want them to treat us. So if we're involved in a work relationship and we answer emails at 2 a.m., we're telling people that, hey, I'm available 24/7. So I say train people how you want to be treated. And that is, I'm setting boundaries around my work and my private life.
But speaking of how you train people, what about if it's an issue with a spouse? How do you impose this rule without stepping on the toes of your spouse?
In a relationship where we're in a loving relationship, we're constantly seeking compromise. So don't be afraid. Don't cop a resentment, but talk about it.
Okay.
I see couples. I've even seen in my own home the troubles at home because of the BlackBerry and the Facebook and then this and then that. So we set rules that we live by no matter what.
All right, what about the kids? We were talking as well about children now. They've got more devices than you can imagine. They are wired, and that's a good thing because technology certainly can be used for educational purposes, but
they're wired and they're tired. And here's the truth, that the average teenager now spends 7.5 hours a day connected. So if you have kids, this is my rule, that under 15, they have a dumb phone. They don't need a smartphone, just a regular cell phone.
Old school? Like the big one?
Old school, where you have to hit it 3 times to text. But do that, so a dumb phone for your kids.
Okay.
Let 15, if they can drive, they get a smartphone. If they can drive, they can get a smartphone. Otherwise, old school, Tamron. And here's the other thing. Fall out of texting and back into calling your kids. Get away from the urge to be efficient with our kids. It's not always about being efficient. Right. It's about being in relationship with them. And if you're on the phone with your child and you hear their voice, you'll get a better understanding of where they're at, how they're doing. than by texting.
You run a tight ship, Brad Lamb.
Rules help.
Thank you
my
very
dear.
much. And Brad's book is How to Help the One You Love.